That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double Chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1-888 IGL Blue. Special delivery just for you. 1-888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
My business observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
Them have it locked.
My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Welcome to the Burger King National Schools Debate Competition. I'm your host, Kamisha Kelly, and this is Semi-Final 2. The competition is sponsored this season by Coca-Cola, IGL, Yummy, The Best Dressed Chicken, The Jamaica Observer, BCIC, and Allied Insurance Brokers. Today we examine the motion, this House would forfeit privacy to achieve national security. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 giants will contend. The government for today is represented by Monroe College, a team that's comprised of James Earl Kirkland, Otino Channer, and Omar Hall. The opposition is from Clarendon Glenmuir High School, and they are represented by O'Dane Dawkins, Zondre Mohansing, and Dane Roberts. It is time to open the motion, and so I'll now invite the Prime Minister to make his case. Please make him welcome.
Members of this honorable House, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, our rights were instituted to protect us. But should they be used to shield criminal activity? As a responsible and compassionate government, a fundamental premise of our role is to provide security for our nation. It is therefore without question that the government proposes the motion, this House would forfeit individual privacy to achieve national security. Naturally, the opposition will raise the issue of fundamental rights and human rights and the Constitution, which grants everyone certain freedoms and rights to privacy. But before correcting the imminent misconceptions and highlighting the pragmatism of this argument, let us first examine the motion. This House would forfeit individual privacy, to achieve national security. Apart from national security and individual privacy, which we will soon examine, the word forfeit is quite evocative. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines forfeit as, and I quote, to lose or be deprived of something, a property, privilege, or right, as a penalty for wrongdoing. In other words, when something is forfeited, it is as a result of wrongdoing. The Oxford Dictionary defines privacy as, and I quote, a state in which one is not observed or disturbed by any person. According to the former Minister of National Security, Mr. Peter Phillips, national security is, and I quote, the measures taken by a state to ensure its survival, security, and protection of its interests. The word would is also extremely crucial as it specifically introduces an if conditionality. The word would conveys the limited parameters of this argument, of this motion. The word would suggests actions taken if and only if certain conditions exist or are presented. Therefore, please do not confuse the word would with will. This motion can therefore be interpreted to mean this House wishes to secure and maintain the survival of the nation by depriving citizens of certain privacies in the event they are suspected of criminal activity. In the event they are suspected of criminal activity. Ultimately, the government wishes to ensure security and welfare for the entire nation. Members of the opposition, please do not interpret this motion to mean that this government wishes to arbitrarily infringe on citizens' rights to privacy, as this is certainly not the case. We instead wish to support a motion which will help to neutralize the threats that crime poses on our society, as individual privacy will only be forfeited where sufficient evidence is put forward to suggest that there is criminal activity. As Prime Minister, I will be addressing the necessity for such a motion to be passed and the legal benefits it will have. My Deputy Prime Minister will examine exactly how the policy will be implemented, and the government member will explain the benefits of passing such a motion. Now, back to the concept of individual privacy. The Constitution makes three major provisions for everyone to enjoy certain rights to privacy. These are privacy of the home, privacy of property and communication, and the protection and search of the person and property. But in the event where a person is suspected of criminal activity, say the police believes he's carrying drugs on his person, for example, isn't he searched? If someone is believed to have contraband items on his or her premises, isn't his right to privacy of home forfeited, and isn't the premises searched? Mr. Speaker, I say that although citizens have rights to individual privacy, there are times when they are forfeited in the name of upholding the law.
Information. The rights of the man who is suspected of being in breach of the law is not forfeited when he is searched in such a situation. Reason being, the Constitution which has the right in it makes the provisions for such situations. Thank you.
Opposition member, please do not mix up the words violate and forfeit. The motion says forfeit, and forfeit is as a result of wrongdoing. Mr. Speaker, I say this to say that although citizens have rights to individual privacy, they are forfeited at times in the name of upholding the law. The government, therefore, does not seek to implement a new policy, but instead build on an already existing one. Forfeiting the right to privacy has been the key to success of many criminals being isolated from society. Did you know that isolation is a result of the rights of criminals being forfeited? Why? The Human Rights Act, found on the HRA website, requires courts to balance human rights against the interests of public safety. The Human Rights Act says those suspected or convicted of crimes can be deprived of certain liberties in the name of upholding the law. According to the Crime and Safety Report for Jamaica, done by the United States Department of State, Jamaica has the highest crime rate in the entire Caribbean region. In 2013 alone, there were 1,083 murders recorded, 1,221 events of shootings, 833 incidents of rape, 2,679 robberies. Subsequently, this acted as a deterrent for tourists who wish to visit our island. Tourism is one of Jamaica's primary sources of foreign exchange, and it is quite evident that our alarmingly high crime rate is crippling the development of this industry. As a responsible government, we must therefore take action, not for the sake of lowering our crime rate or securing our own nation, but for the survival of its economy.
Point of information.
According to the Ministry of National Security website, in the space of 4 months, a record 77 illegal weapons were seized, 174 arrests made as a result of spot checks and sting search operations conducted by the Constabulary Force. Let us say weapons were not seized, were not confiscated, and each round of ammunition represented one life that would be taken. It could be yours, it could be mine, it could be your brothers, your sisters. These weapons would have been left in the hands of criminals simply because we refuse to forfeit their rights to individual privacy and search the premises or their person. National security and welfare, national security, the welfare of the entire nation must take priority over one's individual privacy. Jamaica is known as the lottery scam capital of the Caribbean. This is a crime that's primarily committed to the misuse of telecommunications, in which citizens manipulate personal information in order to financially exploit others. Subsequently, Jamaica has jeopardized potential investments and has destroyed majority of its banking relationships as a result of the distrust portrayed by members of this country. There has been a marked increase in the level of telecommunication crimes, and as a responsible government, we must take action against this issue. As such, I direct your attention to the Interception of Communications Act of 2002, which was amended in 2011, as it grants the government power to intercept communication for the purpose of prevention, detection, and prosecution of criminal offenses. In this event, we see where the individual privacy must be forfeited in order to foster national security. Members of this House, do not misconstrue the government's position, as we are not planning to arbitrarily bug or tap your cell phones. We're not planning to just read all your personal emails, that this would not be judicious on our part. What we are suggesting is that we use already implemented statutes, strengthen them in order to attain much needed information to foster national security, but only and only when criminal activity is suspected. Let us not sacrifice all for one, but instead sacrifice one for all. I thank you.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, now look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
The Move It Lock. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Hey!
That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double Chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue. Special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Mr. Speaker, members of the government, fellow members of the opposition, viewers all, good morning. The Prime Minister is certainly misguided in his stance that forfeiture can be a half and half or a balanced situation. May I bring your attention to the Constitution? It is either we follow it or we don't. It is not continuing with a policy already instituted. It is a step in the opposite direction. Before we delve into the argument, let us define a few key terms. We would like to give our definition of the word forfeit. We believe that within the context of the mood, it is to lose or give up something as a necessary consequence of something else. The word achieve, we agree, means to successfully bring about or reach a desired objective. The government has come here today to propose the argument that this house would sacrifice the individual privacy, not in some areas, but would sacrifice individual privacy as stated by the Constitution in order to attain the state of national security. Accepted.
We said nothing about sacrificing individual privacy. Please pay attention to the motion. It says forfeit. As forfeit means as a result of wrongdoing. Don't mix up sacrifice.
The definition, my dear friend, of forfeit is to lose or give up, to sacrifice something as a necessary consequence of something else. The two correlate. Thank you. What does this mean? Mr. Speaker, this means that your rights, as stated by the Jamaican Constitution, can be shrugged off at will under the misguided national security. The opposition wishes to express its total and adamant disagreement with the notion that this government seeks to implement, as we believe it is baseless and misguided. We believe that national security should not be attained through the shrugging off of rights, but through the upliftment, not through infringement, through upliftment, using the resources that we already have. As leader of the opposition, I will embark upon 2 points of analysis: the non-causational link between national security and individual privacy, and the importance of the maintenance of privacy as stated by the Constitution. The Deputy Leader of Opposition will show this House the practicality of the proposal, and the Member of Opposition will show you actual feasible alternatives. Mr. Speaker, the basis of the stance is simple. The government's proposal rests on the notion that the forfeiture of individual privacy will lead to the achievement of national security. This is not so. It is fallacious to assume that the two have a causational relationship. There is no evidentiary support to give legs to the thought that the forfeiture of rights of individual privacy will lead to the attainment of national security. One does not cause the other. Mr. Speaker, the opposition dares to say in some cases, they don't even affect each other. Bear in mind that forfeiture is a necessary loss. What they are saying is that it is necessary for individual privacy to be shrugged off. It is necessary for the Constitution to be broken, all in the name of national security. There is a better way.
Point of information.
Accepted.
Are you aware that the Constitution provides certain exceptions in the execution of these rights, such as in the execution of a court order?
Yes, we do realize that.
Thank you.
As we continue. The opposition puts it out. The people of our country should not and do not have any reason to forfeit their rights in the attainment of national security. There is a better way, as the member of opposition will explore. May I bring the attention of this noble house to the Jamaican Constitution, which forms the backbone of our nation. In chapter 3, we find the fundamental, and I want you to pay attention to this word, the fundamental rights and freedoms of a human being who lives in Jamaica. In this section, along with the protection of the right to live, the right to be protected from inhuman treatment, the right to be protected from arbitrary holding, we see the right for protection of the privacy of the home and other property. Why is this here? Under fundamental rights and freedoms. The opposition posits, Mr. Speaker, that it is here because privacy is a fundamental right. If we sanction the forfeiture of this fundamental right, where do we stop? Next, we'll be hearing that by compromising your right to live, we will better be able to protect you. Mr. Speaker, the Jamaican Constitution is the basis on which this nation functions. We have these rights for a reason, as they are important to our well-being and daily functions. Need I say, Mr. Speaker, that this proposal will not stand up to constitutional challenge? The Jamaican Constitution, in Chapter 3, Section B, when speaking of these fundamental rights, clearly and unequivocally states, Parliament shall pass law, and no organ of the state shall take any action which abrogates, abridges, or infringes these rights. The government cannot, and rightly so, change fundamental rights based on their own whims. The court is the last arbiter, and they decide how rights are enjoyed. This proposal...
Point of information.
Accepted.
Are you saying that the issue of a judge's warrant to fight crime is no longer important?
No, that is not what we are saying. We are saying that the court is the last arbiter, so we're actually in agreement. The judges say is what is important right here. The court is the last arbiter. So this decision cannot be taken in Parliament. It has to be taken within the courts, as you just mentioned. The government is slippery. A world that is becoming increasingly globalized. Persons are linked with a click. The government should be seeking to protect the privacy rights of individuals, yet they seek to destroy them. One well-placed Trojan horse can put your most intimate information in the most unscrupulous of hands. The information that they gather, for example, say they gather some private information, Trojan horse can put information all over the world. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the opposition reiterates its stance. The achievement of national security should be hunted, not through the breaking down of walls we already have, but through the building of security measures through the use of all our available resources. I remind you of the notion, individual privacy does not have a causational link with national security. The Jamaican Constitution clearly states that privacy is a fundamental right, and this proposal would never stand up to constitutional challenge. Privacy is not about having something to hide. It is not about criminals. It's a state in which we are free make autonomous decisions. It is where we are comfortable enough to do our best and most brilliant work. It is all right. I thank you.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
Them have it locked. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Hey!
That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Can forfeiture of individual privacy be a balanced situation? Is it a necessary consequence to achieve national security? Great job, O'Dane Dawkins, probing questions. But how much do you know about safeguarding your rights and the Jamaican Constitution? Think about this as we must press on in this debate, and there's more to hear. Let's now hear from the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Otino Channel.
My opposition, rights will not be arbitrarily shrugged off. You must know that rights come with responsibilities. And when we negate our responsibilities, there are consequences. The Constitution guarantees freedom of movement, but aren't criminals jailed? Mr. Speakers of the House, honorable members, good morning. The foremost responsibility of government warrants secure environment conducive to the well-being of citizens and the country's development. It is the government's belief that the most effective way to contain the crime problem is by forfeiting the rights of privacy of individuals suspected or charged with criminal offences. Subsequently, as the Deputy Prime Minister, I will outline to you how we will implement this motion. The forfeiture of privacy rights shall entail 1. The search of the person, 2. The search of property, and 3. Communication interception. According to data garnered from the police department, every year on average over 50 million pounds of ganja leave Jamaica for Haiti while we receive guns. According to the JCF also, 1 in every 10 males over the age of 20 has an illegal gun. Parliamentarians, we obviously have a problem. Help us to deal with it, not circumvent such. Look at the bigger picture here. The goal is to provide a safe environment for all persons. Sometimes certain situations demand the police to act with immediacy. In some cases, waiting on a warrant defeats the purpose of fighting crime effectively. So we are empowering the police to forfeit an individual's privacy without a court's warrant where they suspect a crime is taking place. This shall apply if the officer is working in the field and does not have the services of a judge. A Scotland Yard officer commenting in a Guardian newspaper interview says, a major hindrance to fighting crime is that our pursuit of criminals is slowed by the fact that we have to operate with warrants. For some cases, the police should have the right to determine where it is necessary to pursue instead of waiting on a judge. These cases shall include matters concerning the pursuit of criminals suspected of carrying drugs and illegal weapons, pursuing suspects, larceny cases, and rape cases. Forfeiture of individual rights to privacy of property will also be done. This is important to obtain evidence and to dismantle storehouses. Many of our criminals roam about every day and cower under the premise of privacy of property and person. Many of our major crimes are planned in the home. Look at even scammers. The forfeiture of privacy of property is especially important to nab them. Without searching their homes, we would not be able to obtain vital evidence. And sometimes it needs immediacy. And in these cases, we empower the police to search properties without warrants.
Point of information.
Accepted.
Are you suggesting that a police of his reasonable suspicion can just get up and go and search a house without getting permission from the judiciary?
That is what we are suggesting, and that is why we train our police to operate with good cause. That is why we train them. In January, the police warned landlords not to rent to scammers. The police have even offered to interview potential tenants. This came after the police arrested 2 men in Clarendon for scamming. They found them with guns, computers, money, and identities of foreign individuals. The scourge of scamming must be eradicated, and the best way to do so is to take away the rights of privacy of these persons. While they have the right to privacy, there are also responsibilities, and when they negate these responsibilities, there are consequences. Scamming is theft of the highest and cutest nature. According to the FTC, $7.2 billion is channeled to Jamaica through scamming. A study by Capra reveals that 90% of scamming victims do not speak up. But how true is this? When they decide not to come to Jamaica, is that not speaking? You would think that we are receiving a lot of tourists, but 2 million is a far understatement of the potential this nation has. How can we guarantee fiscal security if we rob the same countries we expect to help us and call it reparations? Rubbish! Look at the bigger picture, my colleagues. Yes, we know people's privacy is important, but must that come at the detriment of our country? I think not.
Point of information.
Accepted.
What evidence is there to prove that there is a correlation or causation between the two, that the forfeiture of individual privacy will result in national security?
If you're a police and I'm a criminal and I just shot him, don't you think it's right to pursue him wherever he goes so that you may catch him? Lend me your ear to explain the interception of communication. First off, the government will not listen to everybody's conversation. There is neither the resource nor the manpower in which to accomplish this. Currently, telecommunication providers record call histories. Note they record them, but they cannot listen to them. The new policy will lay down for communication providers to provide the police with the recorded call information without warrant. Only if individuals the police submit to them can be proven to be suspicious. How will this achieve national security? The measure is not only intended to prove the individual's guilt, but also intended at preventing a crime. Many crimes, if detected, can be prevented. There is a better way to limit levels of criminality. If you realize it stops the crime instead of solving the crime. Intercepting data will include access to email and internet data. Why is the government taking things so far? But look at the scammers. Look at the extent they go to. The goal is to punish. In order to punish, we must prove guilt. When we punish, others become fearful. And the more we punish, the less the practice. But punishment must be warranted. And with scamming, the only way to achieve that is to forfeit privacy. Take a look at the Vibes Cartel murder trial. Did you see how important those voice notes were in proving Cartel and his cronies guilty? Not accepted. Hold on. How much more can we prove guilty? But that is not the concern we should be addressing. Here we should be looking at how many lives can be saved if we obtain leads and take preventative measures. At what cost to the government? None at all, really. The communication providers already record these information. All the government has to do is to request them within the powers given to us in the Interception of Communication Act. But for calls to be intercepted, there must be reasonable cause to a threat to national security. So in my position, we do not just plan to arbitrarily bug phones and computers.
Point of information.
1 minute has gone. What are the procedures involved? When an officer suspects a threat to national security, in this case, the information on phones and computers to be intercepted, he must possess a judge's warrant in the case of intercepting phones. But his suspicions must reach a judge in less than 24 hours. With this interception forms of evidence, there will be less disparity in deciding whether the accused is guilty or innocent. Example, many citizens who were convinced Cartel was innocent were otherwise convinced when they heard his voice. Yes, the judicial system has its hiccups. We do not live in a utopian society. The proposition is therefore an attempt of the government to address the situation. The evidence that can be garnered when the right to privacy is forfeited will result in clear-cut, conclusive cases that will better determine the fate of the impeached. I don't know about you, but when I do grow up, I want to live. And as the government, we are to ensure that when others grow up, they can also live. I thank you.
Hey!
That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double Chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music
My Business
store.
Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
Them have it locked. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Government has the right to suspend the right to privacy of persons suspected or convicted of crimes. The importance of criminal forensics. Thank you for extending the debate, Mr. Otino. I'm certain the opposition will have a great response. Ladies and gentlemen, do help me welcome the Deputy Opposition Leader, Mr. Zondre Mohan Singh.
Panel of adjudicators, members of government, fellow members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, good afternoon. The opposition is resolute in its stance, ladies and gentlemen, that the people of our nation should not sacrifice their individual privacy in order to achieve national security. Or should I say, Mr. Speaker, in an attempt to achieve national security, because, as outlined by the leader of the opposition, there isn't necessarily a causational relationship between the two. And the government has failed to show us how the forfeiture of one will result in the achievement of the other. I must also say that the Deputy Prime Minister has built his argument on this principle of reasonable suspicion. But I ask you the question, government, what is reasonable suspicion? Who is it left up to? You must understand that reasonable is a relative term. So who is it left up to? And until the government can show us who it is that it is left up to and what reasonable suspicion is, then they have no claim. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to bring two individual points to the fore. And they are the impracticality of the government's proposal and the fact that the implementation of such a policy can open doors to the abuse of power. That I'm sure we don't need to question. Now let's look at the first point. The government has proposed a policy that sounds like the perfect fairy tale, where everybody has the right judgment, Mr. Speaker. Because, you know, they want to say to us that everything is all right when we say to tap into the emails of the persons who are suspected or spy on their WhatsApp messages. But how practical is it to actually undertake such a venture? Who is the one that will spy on these persons? I know it's not the police, because the police force is already burdened and inadequate. So I don't see who would do it, and I don't know where reasonable suspicion would come in. Accepted.
Are you aware that suspicion is indeed how the investigative process begins? We have to have something to find out something. So we have to establish what we will be investigating on a point. Suspicion. And we have to prove that by investigating.
By investigating, but not the forfeiture of a right. And that is what we, the opposition, are saying, not the forfeiture of a right based on mere relativity, because that is what it is. It's not going to merit the forfeiture of a right. And let me say also, Mr. Speaker, that even if the government happens to find the source, the funding and finds personnel to carry out these different actions, you must understand that such a proposal is unconstitutional. Subsection F of Part 3 of the Jamaican Constitution, passed in 1962, and the Constitutional Amendment of 2011, also known as the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom, both state that it is the right of everyone to have protection from search of the person and property, to have respect for and protection of private and family life, have protection of privacy of other property and of communication. It doesn't take rocket science, ladies and gentlemen, to understand that the government would have to get the Constitution amended in order to implement this policy. And I couldn't imagine that they would want to undermine the Constitution. No, the leader of the opposition has already indicated that the Constitution says that this right, which is a fundamental right, cannot be repealed based on the Constitution. So the government's proposal, ladies and gentlemen, is not only impractical, but illegal, if you may. Accepted.
Did we not say that we're not going to find a new personnel because Digicel already does this, and all the telecommunication providers, sorry. And the Constitution, if I may address another point, provides the Parliament with the right to amend it. So if we have to go down that road, then we are prepared to go down that road. The Constitution provides us with the right.
Well, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I don't believe there's any justification in allowing somebody from Digicel perhaps line who is not trained or is not under oath to keep my information within the confines of the workplace to see my information, because that person can now go and spread it to the world, which gives rise to the second problem, which is the abuse of power. So let's examine it. Let's go. It speaks to the possible long-term implications. So let's look at it. Hypothetically speaking, let's imagine that the government happens to override the Constitution, as improbable as it might be, and actually institutes a policy in which we forfeit our individual privacy. Doesn't this open the floodgates to the abuse of power? Think about it, doesn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, the corruption that exists now would pale in comparison to what would emerge as a result of persons having access to individuals' private details. Can you imagine the blackmailing, the gossiping, perhaps even extortion that would exist? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big step in the wrong direction. After 9/11, the USA passed the Patriots Act, which according to www.justice.gov gives the government access to the private details of many persons. So I will look at the conditions that exist in the US as a result of this piece of legislation in order to get a fair understanding of what might obtain in Jamaica if forfeiture of privacy is made mandatory. So let's turn our attention to an article posted on zerohedge.com entitled, NSA admits we do store all your data, but we don't look at it all. Now, we need not go any further than the headline, ladies and gentlemen, because that is enough to tell us that the US is compiling a wealth of private information about everyone from sea to shining sea, as they would say. Well, they also say it's the land of freedom, but you can't walk without being videotaped, so that's questionable. But let's imagine that this was the case in Jamaica, where corruption is currently rampant. Are we to rest assured, Mr. Prime Minister, that the persons who access this information have pure and non-malicious intentions, holy and sanctimonious and sanctified perhaps? Only divine intervention could help them or stop them from using that information for malicious acts if they so desire. Plus, these persons would not be under oath if they're working with Digicel or Lime. Come on! Ladies and gentlemen, how can you rest assured that it would not fall into the wrong hands? That's the question. You know, Snowden was well trusted by the Americans, but top secret information was still divulged. This is the chaos that I'm talking about, Mr. Speaker. You can't stop it. We're humans, and only divine intervention can stop them from doing what they want if they so desire. Now, is the government proposing that we are supposed to argue for more unconstitutional behavior? Because all arrows point in that direction, you know, Mr. Prime Minister. And I'd love to see how you'd reverse it. Because the great US of A got caught. So why should we assume that Jamaica isn't susceptible? Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen why the opposition believes what we do believe. And I ask you to come on board. The opposition is also of the belief that no argument is complete without a suggestion for the way forward. So the member of the opposition will extensively examine the alternative policies to this impractical proposal. Thank you.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
Them have it locked. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matters.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
On the new delicious double king deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior cheese combo or a double chicken junior sandwich combo. Both serve with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious double king deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
Will the forfeiture of the rights to privacy lead to the achievement of national security? Who determines reasonable suspicion? Is it practical? What of the abuse of power? Astute questions from an astute Zandre Mohansing. The government, having opened this debate, has the right to continue. Let's make welcome Omar Hall, government member.
Since the inception of this debate, the opposition is clearly misguided with our definition of forfeit. My Prime Minister defined forfeit to mean, by the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, to lose or be deprived of property, a privilege, or a right as a penalty of wrongdoing. Mr. Speaker, members of this honorable House, good morning. National security is paramount when it comes to the administration of the state. We as the government must strive to create a society where crime can be properly controlled and where effective mechanisms allow for the cohesive function of a country. This is the ultimate driving force for the government's calculated actions. There is no question that this motion will benefit our country, though the opposition may argue that this is a blatant disregard for our fundamental rights. We continue to stress the point that it is not. Rather,
Those who threaten the democracy forfeit the rights themselves. The World Bank posits that crime is a major deterrent to fiscal growth, and within our Jamaican context, there is no argument to the lack of criminal deviance. In the 2012 report the World Bank made on Jamaica, it outlined that crime directly affects overall productivity, constrains business expansion, all while diverting resources from productive activities to crime prevention. As such, we as a government must curb the growth of criminal activity. With the implementation of this strategy, we will be more able to suppress and target criminal behavior and foster economic stability and growth within Jamaica.
Point of information.
Accepted.
Didn't you say that rights would be forfeited from the stage where the man is a suspect? You're talking about criminals.
Yes,
now.
suspected of wrongdoing.
But is he a criminal?
Suspected criminal of wrongdoing. If the policy develops economical stability, then we will be better able by 2013 to finance other technological resources to fight crime. This will in turn enable more foreign corporate entities to invest in Jamaica and promote trade, job creation, and gross domestic profitability, all factors in economic stability. The expansion and growth of the tourism industry will also be a consequence of better national security. On the international scene, Jamaica is being viewed as a country where scamming and illegal coercion is rampant. This acts as an impetus to the development of the tourism product as visitors are deterred from vacationing here. With our policy, acts such as scamming will be easier to prosecute, thus discouraging individuals to partake in such activity. Secondly, we must also seek to examine the positive social effects that this strategy will have. If the government is better able to target and gather evidence to convict suspected individuals of crime, then we will promote a more cohesive society. Citizens will feel safer as their fundamental rights will be better safeguarded by the state, as we would be better equipped with the resources to target individuals who threaten these fundamental rights. Chairman of CARICOM, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, stated this year that national security is fundamental in securing social stability. As such, we as a government must seek to implement mechanisms that will mend the social fabric of our society rather than damaging it. Thirdly, this bill will strengthen our ability to not only catch criminals, but also convict them. The Crown will be better able to gather more irrefutable evidence that stands its ground in court. With the excavation of solid evidence, the judicial system will run better in an effort to create a smoother judiciary. As it is a fact that the long compilation of evidence slows the judicial process, as prosecutors' cases are thrown due to a lack of sufficient and substantial evidence to convict alleged criminals. Finally, as a parliament, we must recognize that this motion would benefit every aspect of our society. Thus, I implore my fellow parliamentarians to really dissect and analyze my arguments properly as we seek to make Jamaica the place to work, raise families, and do business. Mr. Speaker, the government rests.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
The Move It Lock. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
Hey!
That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double Chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
Mr. Marhall, government member, would have us believe that forfeiting the right to privacy will assist in attaining a higher conviction rate. Ladies and gentlemen, what say you? We thank the government for presenting their case and leading the charge on this motion. But let us now invite the opposition member, Dane Roberts, to close the arguments on behalf of side opposition. Welcome.
Judges, audience, government and opposition, good day. The opposition stance is clear. Forfeiting individual privacy will not achieve national security. The leader of opposition has already contextualized the motion and shown the gaping holes in the government's policy. The deputy leader has looked at the impracticality of the motion. I will now suggest more viable ways of ensuring national security without infringing on our fundamental right to privacy. But before I continue, the opposition takes contention with the definition you have given, because it is not relative to the motion. The definition refers to forfeiture when one is required to surrender his or her land, etc., when convicted by the court for a criminal offense, which is not what the motion states. Same word, different meaning. Now, Mr. Speaker, the government would have you believe that sacrificing individual by sacrificing individual privacy, we will miraculously attain national security. But is this really so?
Point of information.
Not accepted. How does the monitoring of my email that only has schoolwork help to achieve national security? It won't. But what would help to ensure national security is use of greater science and technology already employed to enhance crime fighting and not pry, community policing and deterrence to crime, namely an effective justice system. The opposition is suggesting to this honorable House that greater use of science and technology can be used in crime fighting without interfering with our constitutional right to privacy. This concept...
Information.
Accepted.
I cannot understand your argument because you just said that our definition of forfeit does not relate to the moot. However, the moot clearly states this House, the Parliament, would support forfeit of individual privacy to achieve national security.
Exactly, to achieve national security. Your definition would not apply. Now, this concept encompasses forensics and alerts and applications on electronic devices to get everyone involved in the crime-fighting process. And unlike sacrificing privacy, this has been seen to work, with even the president of the Computer Forensic Institute of Nigeria urging his government to utilize computer forensics, which is a lovely marriage between science and technology, to combat crime. This marriage is the balance of which the opposition speaks, preserving rights while addressing national security. Seeing that we are on the point of getting everyone involved in crime fighting, it is important that we go to community policing as another way of achieving national security. This has been rolled out in the Grand Spend community, but quite surprisingly, it has stopped there, even though it has reaped success. The Commissioner of Police, Owen Ellington, stated in a 2011 Observer article that community policing would build safe communities where citizens trust and embrace the police. This is ensuring national security one community at a time. And it is much more practical than the suggested policy of sacrificing the privacy of suspected criminals by the government. Friends, national security cannot be attained without major deterrents, namely a criminal justice system that is efficient, effective, and just. Thus, the opposition suggests improvement in the system by employing the required number of police officers and judges. This would ensure that criminals are arrested, tried, and sentenced in a timely, efficient manner, as seen in Finland, where their criminal justice system was ranked #1 in the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index 2014.
Information. Your argument is not consistent. The deputy opposition member just suggested that it is so expensive. Yet you come up here and you're saying that we should get new judges and new police. This is also expensive.
Yes,
so,
but
so your alternative is not valid. So.
The alternative is viable as it has been seen to work, unlike the forfeiting of individual privacy, which has not. Judges, the opposition is appalled that the government would table a policy that violates our right to privacy in the name of national security, when there are so many other measures to be implemented. I urge this House not to be swayed by the impractical policy of the government when the opposition has given more feasible and effective methods of ensuring national security. I thank you.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
The Move It Lock. My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Got great value on the new delicious double king deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double chicken Junior Sandwich Combo, both served with small fries and sodas for $700. Or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious double king deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
The opposition member has challenged the government's definition of forfeiture. Then Roberts also presented alternatives to forfeiting the right to privacy. We've been happy, but it's time for the rebuttals. And so first off, we invite the opposition leader, Mr. O'Dane Dawkins, to, show us the crux of the debate from their side. Welcome, O'Dane.
Good day again. The definition given by the government is not acceptable. It is a valid definition for the word forfeit, but not in this context. It refers to criminal penalty. I thought you said we were using it to apprehend suspects. Forfeiture is a penalty for wrongdoing, but you say that if someone is suspected, you forfeit his rights? Erroneous, non sequitur. Your entire argument is therefore flawed. You are either saying that a suspect is already a criminal, or you're okay with forfeiting the rights of an innocent man. You really make the suspect sound like he's already behind bars. Aren't we innocent until proven guilty? Or do we intend to add another section to the Constitution, guilty until proven innocent? Let us know. We're not talking about simple laws. We're talking about fundamental rights. If you strip these from a suspect, the opposition is appalled at the road down which you head. Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, we do want everyone to live. That is why we have a constitution, so people can live and live right. Once we undermine it, we undermine the basis on which we live, our foundation. The Deputy Prime Minister mentioned greater good. How do we advance the greater good? Through destruction of our erroneous. Mr. Deputy Prime Minister said that's why we train the police when we mention carrying to the court. So what is the sense of the judiciary? Let's just get rid of the courts then. And you said that is why we train our police. I guess that's why they handle the evidence in the cartel case so well with so little mistakes. Come on, let us get real. Privacy should not be a misunderstood concept. It is the space in which we make autonomous decisions. Let us think, within the privacy of our minds, which position is the better. I thank you.
Thank you very much, a sharp opposition leader, Mr. O'Dane Dawkins. But we hope the government will not keep the crux of the debate on their side in the privacy of their minds. So let us invite Prime Minister James Earl Kirkland to rebut on behalf of said government.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a job where you make up to $7.2 million a week in the comfort of your own home by simply making a phone call. Welcome to the life of scamming. Methods that we have highlighted will be implemented to curb actions like this. Yes, we agree that persons have rights, but there are consequences when these responsibilities that come with the rights are negated. The opposition leader said we would shove off the rights of citizens. Well, no, that is not the case. That is not what we are saying. We will not arbitrarily disregard citizens' rights. That would not be judicious on our part. The concept is to forfeit, as we defined as to be deprived of property, a right, or to be deprived of property or a right as a result of wrongdoing, in order to defend the security of the entire nation. The opposition member said his email address is full of schoolwork. Well, opposition member, you're not a suspect if your email address is full of schoolwork. We would have no reason to take a look at email address. We would have no reason to forfeit your individual privacy. There's no point. If you were probably a scammer, a known scammer, a suspected scammer, a drug dealer, for example, then chances are your email account would have a lot more than schoolwork, and that is exactly what we would be looking for. In the event where you are a scammer or drug dealer, your email address would have a lot more than your schoolwork, and that is exactly what we are looking for. Right? The deputy opposition leader said that to do this, we'd have to implement some very expensive and unpractical structures. Well, the opposition member outlined some alternatives. Hiring new judges, hiring new police, constable, Air Force members, that's not much cheaper. You have yet to identify a practical alternative to what we have presented. Right? The cartel case was tried, tested, and cartel was found guilty. The judicial system has its hiccups, yes. But we have implemented this judicial system. We must therefore trust it to do what we have implemented it to do. I need to get this concept across. It should be one for all, not all for one. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a debate. By giving young people a voice, we're truly empowering them. By listening to their voices, you prove that youth engagement is not merely tokenism. The Burger King National Schools Debate Competition has given young Jamaicans the platform to examine issues critical to national development. I am happy today that I'm only facilitating this platform. But tasked with delivering the verdict today is Chief Judge Mr. Ricardo Brooks, Mr. Gavay Watt, Ms. Shakisha Cowan, and Mr. Jermaine Barrett. We're going to take a break to allow the judges to deliberate. When we return, we will hear whether it is Monroe College or Glenmuir High School that will advance to the finals of the Burger King National Schools Debate Competition.
My Business Observer really matters. It keeps me up to date with news stories, the stock market, and the economy. And I can also keep my eye on my competitors.
Subscribe today.
What would I do without my study center?
North Coast to the South Coast.
At the end of the week, I look forward to the Sunday Observer in Wagwan.
The Mavic Lock.
My Sunday Finance gives me a roundup of corporate, local, regional, and international news that matter.
Every day matters. Subscribe today by going to JamaicaObserver.com or calling our nearest office.
Hey!
That looks delicious.
Double delicious. Burger King is giving us great value on the new delicious Double King deals. You can get a double Whopper Junior Cheese Combo or a double Chicken Junior Sandwich Combo. Both serve with small fries and sodas for $700. or you can get 2 sandwiches for $550.
Wait, say that again.
The delicious Double King deals at Burger King.
Taste rules your way.
I love my bacon.
Keeping you cooking, that's what we do. To get your guests, just look to the blue. Call our number, IGL's on the way. We're gonna be there without a delay. 1888 IGL Blue, special delivery just for you. 1888 IGL Blue. When you need gas, you know what to do.
That's 1-888-445-2583.
إحنا مش بس بنلعب طابة، إحنا كبنات بدنا نثبت للعالم إنه إحنا موجودين.
Somos uma comunidade afastada. O nosso meio de conectar com o mundo é o futebol.
In every day, in every grain, in every hand, in every droplet, in every standard, in everything we do. The best dressed chicken, quality is who we are.
Jamaica's only complete music store is now at a new location. 8 South Avenue is the new home of the Music Mart. Shop in ease and comfort for everything music. Pianos, keyboards, wind instruments, violins, CDs of every genre, PA equipment, recording equipment and accessories, DJ equipment, acoustic and electric guitars and drums, amplifiers, effects pedals, tuners, sheet music, instruction texts and reference books. All these and much more at affordable prices. The Music Mart, now at 8 South Avenue, Kingston 10. The Music Mart, Jamaica's only complete music store.
Welcome back to the Burger King National Schools Debate Competition. One thing is certain. Today, a giant will fall. The motion that we examined was this House would forfeit individual privacy to achieve national security. And we had two of the strongest teams in this Burger King National Schools Debate Competition. They are Monroe College and Glenmuir High School. I'm certain the judges had a hard task to determine who would advance to the finals. But it's not my duty to tell you who it is. So let me now invite Chief Judge, Mr. Ricardo Brooks, to give the verdict. Please make him welcome.
We think we know exactly what we want to hear, and then you make it about something totally different. This debate came down to definitions. The definition of forfeit, and interestingly, the definition of the word would. Monroe says to forfeit is to lose or be deprived of something as a result of wrongdoing, and Glenmuir contended it is to lose something as a necessary consequence. So from Monroe, we get the idea that to forfeit individual rights, you must be guilty, we presume, of wrongdoing. And from Glenmuir, it must be the consequence, a necessary consequence. And we, again, presume by some judicial method, it would be a consequence. Then we get from the Prime Minister this interesting idea that his government would only take action if the conditions exist and in the event that they are suspected of criminal activities. Obviously, Monroe, there is a glaring contradiction here, because you would take action if criminal activity exists or if they're suspected of criminal activities, yet you say that to forfeit individual rights necessarily means it is as a result, to be deprived as a result of wrongdoing. So we weighed that for quite some time. Then we moved to the idea of reasonable suspicion and what constitutes reasonable suspicion. Monroe tells us, coming from the Deputy Prime Minister, that it would be left up to the law enforcement apparatus to decide what is reasonable and what is not. The Deputy Opposition Leader says, we cannot do that because we're going down a road that might be the point of no return. We felt on both sides there was very good use of examples, obvious, excellent research, and I want you to give both teams a round of applause. We heard about the Interception of Communications Act. We heard about the Cyber Crimes Act, what obtains with Digicel and Lime and our telecoms sector. So they obviously researched this idea of individual privacy versus national security. We felt, though, that the team that will advance clearly defined a problem, clearly outlined in a very fearless way the solution to the problem. And we had to take into account what is the role that you're asked to play as government versus the role of opposition. We felt Glenmuir asked very probing questions in line with their task and role and responsibility. And we felt Monroe played their role insofar as the Prime Minister identified his problem and laid out his fearless approach. Commendations go to the opposition leader from Glenmuir High. Commendations go to the deputy opposition leader. Commendations to the deputy prime minister. And as one adjudicator put it, because his model sustained the debate, and in the end we didn't feel it was sufficiently shaken, the best speaker is the prime minister. On a unanimous vote and with the consent of the chair of the House, Monroe College will advance to the finals.
Today's best speaker is James Earl Kirkland, Prime Minister from Monroe College. James Earl will receive prizes. I'll now invite Mr. Jerome White of IGL to present a plaque to our best speaker. Mr. Welcome. James Earl will also receive a prize courtesy of Coca-Cola. Presenting this is Miss Crystal Robinson. This season is sponsored by Coca-Cola, IGL, Yummy, the Best Dressed Chicken, the Jamaica Observer, BCIC, and Allied Insurance Brokers. Burger King National Schools Debate Competition has provided an excellent platform for young students. So join us next time. Support the youth. Here's to debate. And as we close, I invite the teams to cross the floor and shake hands. In front of the microphone, in front of the podium. Go around. Yeah. Shake hands.